Coming at you today from the farmstead with kind of an interesting topic. We're talking about meat birds in a small scale setting, in the homestead setting. You know, I've had some questions about, how you make it profitable, to do cattle, or how you make it profitable to do meat birds, or how you make it profitable to raise a turkey, and for that matter, a meat goat or a dairy goat. And sometimes the profit's in different ways. In the large scale, I get it. You're making, a buck a bird, and, if that, and you're timesing it by 1,000, you know what I mean? And then, of course, the processor's, making, X amount of cents a bird, and he's processing 10,000, and the grocery store is making a few bucks a bird and selling, 20 birds a day or something like that, So I get all the different methods, but today I just kind of wanted to walk through how we do it. First of all, I don't buy pre-made sticker labels with this stuff on. I've just made photocopies and printed off hundreds of them, and I've had them cut up, and we laminate them, and then that's what's going into our bags for the chickens. And here I've actually time-lapsed the process so you can just kind of see it. But really, again, what I'm talking about today, and I really want to focus on is the financial aspect of it. When you go out and decide that you're going to get into meat birds, what's it take? I love seeing families homestead. I love seeing families try to make a go of this. And there's a point where it breaks even for every family. And I think you have to take that into consideration. Two people are going to break even at a different point with how many birds they use a year for chicken than a family of 7 like us. So when you have a family of 7 and you're going to try and break even with, your birds, let's say you're going to try to break even with, 20 birds that you keep yourself, or 21 birds you keep yourself. If you're going to do something like that, you're going to need to have X amount of birds to make up the difference. If you want to do it on a scale where your birds are free and you're coming to an equal point. It's always nice to make a profit. And certainly this year looks like a profitable year for most people because, chicken is selling for $15 to $20 a bird, 15 maybe on the middle range size, $20 for the organic, and a cheap bird now sells for 10 or 12 bucks, So people think, wow, that's a time to get into the meat birds. Well, also remember though that bags of feed don't cost $10 to $15. They cost $18 to $25 for bags of feed. So things all change when you get into this. This year, we're in the 70 counts here for birds. I'll try to put some of this information at the bottom of the video for you guys to see. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and save out a portion for us. And on the farm, our goal is to get that portion to be at a net of 0, so it doesn't cost us anything other than our labor. And then we'll take the rest of the birds, and of course have sold them to family for the most part, and they will get the birds at a cost, but they won't have gone through the labor, and hopefully a cost that's more affordable to them. And in the middle ground, we want to get to that 0 point. That's like literally where we're after, folks. We want to get to that 0. So to get to that 0 takes a little bit of effort, if you know what I mean. I wish I could tell you that it's a piece of cake and it's always very easy and there's never any difficulties with things or anything like that. Well, yes, that sounds great, but that's not always the way it is. So as we kind of go through it here, I just kind of want to walk my way through the numbers. In a synopsis of the numbers, I'll just kind of go through it. You have to pick how many birds. So on the cost factor side of things, we chose about, I think, 80 birds this year. It took $300 shipping and everything to get them here to the farm. It took us 8 bags of shavings. It took us 27 bags of food. It took us 56 days from start to finish, and we got them about 2 days old. And these are Cornish crosses, so they're kind of the dumb white birds, right? That's something that people have to consider too, is what type of bird are you using? What type of bird are you going to work with? If you want to do something more free range, that 27 bags of food is going to go down, which is great. That sounds awesome. Let's get that bag cost down. And you're going to use your land, and that's awesome too. And you're just going to make your tractor and move it around. But you're not going to get done in 56 days. So take that into consideration, folks. There's trade-offs to everybody's method. And when it comes to even processing expense, what's your equipment like? What's your team like? Do you have enough family members? Here I do. I got George and Jean helping us out here. I've got 3 different farm hands. I've got Haley and Bryce and Evan here helping us out. I've got my family here, so that's 7 of us and my mother. So, we're pulling a pretty big crew to get this done. And we're going to pop off in 3 hours, start to finish, set up to clean up. And that's with the coop cleaned. We're going to process out all these 80 birds, which is just, I think, absolutely wonderful. So when you look at the cost factor, 80 birds cost us $300. Bags of shavings, 8 of them, cost us $50. The meat bird food at 27 bags cost us $489. Where can you cut savings there? Well, you can obviously find maybe cheaper birds. You could use your own chippings for shavings, and you could reduce your bag fee by going tractor, but you increase your days. Here's where the increased days comes into a factor. We did 56 days, and we know our electric to pump our water and to do our heat when we need to with our heat lamps costs us about $1 a day. So 56 days costs us $56. If we have to go, 100 days, it's going to cost us $100. So there's a little bit of trade-off on that, and that's something people got to consider. So if we want to look at it on the factors of cost, these are kind of things that we've got to think about. So when you get into total cost, 80 birds for us cost us just shy of $900, $895. I know some people say, "Wow, that still seems like a lot." Yeah, it can be to some. I'm not trying to pick on that. But for us, that's a true number. That's real. I mean, we're not fudging that. We're not making that up. So, if you're going to do 25 birds, you're going to do 10 birds. Obviously that's going to play into your number some. Now remember, a lot of people have to bring in minimum quantity of chicks unless you're using a store, and a lot of stores don't always carry the meat birds. So that sometimes plays a factor in this too when you get into the stores. Because you might have to buy 20 at a time, or you go in with your neighbor and you buy 20 or 25 and you split them. Okay. So then you also got to look at, what you make when it comes to these birds. How do you finish out? Where does it play out for you? And again, I'm only going to look at the profit side as to what we sell. We're not going to look at it for our own intake. Okay. So when we look at this and we take, out of the 80 birds, we take 69 of them for sale, okay? And when I say sale, I'm talking to my family and friends. So I'm not selling these, natural birds for, $20 a bird. I'm going to try to sell these at a reasonable cost because these are people I care about, and I'd like them to eat a natural bird. Yes, I'd love to call these organic, but, I'm not going through no stinking certification to get that and, put all that on just for family birds. So when we looked at costs this year, we came down to a number that we thought was very realistic for everybody. And it's been that way now for 2 years. So this is the second year that prices have been stable, even in this world of inflated chicken. So nobody's bird costs more than $13. And that's kind of regardless of size. Oh, let's talk about size too. At 56 days of growth, okay, our smallest bird, and we did have a small one in there, was about 4 pounds. Our biggest bird was 7 1/4. So I spent $895, folks, to get a range from basically 4 pounds to 7 pounds. Our average this year was 6.2 pounds. That is actually very, very good for the quantity of food and stuff we put in it. You can go to a store, go to a cheaper box store. You can go to a cheaper grocery store. We all know their names, right? And you can buy probably a twin pack of birds for about $13, maybe $12 at the cheapest. But you'll find that most of the time you're buying a 4.9 to 5 pound bird. Maybe you're buying a 5 1/4 on each of those birds. These are nice big birds with beautiful breasts, done naturally, no preservatives. We are, as you can see in the video in the lower left, we are vacuum sealing them. I know people can use shrink bags. That's fine to do too. I don't like reheating my chicken in that bag a little bit to get that bag to seal. And I want a complete seal for long-term, freezer storage, because some of my family members cannot burn through these chickens like I can. You'll also notice in the dead center there, my wife has got a chicken on the table and she's doing cut up. So we've got a whole process here where, the kids up on the top of the screen are doing their part. George is in there scalding. My farm hands and my son are in there getting the plucking done. Jean there in kind of the lighter teal shirt there, she's eviscerating. And then we switch from there, and my mother in the blue slacks there, she is prepping out whole chickens with my daughter taking out gizzards and stuff that we're going to use, and we're vacuum sealing them up, myself at the end there doing that. But my bride is taking chickens over, and she's doing cut up chickens, which we're bagging up a little differently. So we do both methods if you're wondering why there's some differences there, okay? So when we look at profit, we're only going to take 69 birds that we achieved profit for, because again, some birds to us are completely free, which is great. At 69 birds, we brought in a total of $897. Again, that's a real number, folks. There's no make believe in this. So remember what I told you for profit, 897. So that's the overall profit number. Now, if you recall, just a few minutes ago, I was talking about total cost. Total cost was $895. So, it's a $2 bird profit. And people are like, you went through all those bags of feed, you went through 56 days of work, you've got the investment of a plucker and your stove, which is used for other things too. You went through all these people coming out to make $2. You must be a lousy homesteader. Actually, quite the contraire. It's really smart thinking. Nobody's overpaying for their birds. They're all getting a decent price. We're putting in the labor and getting our birds for free. And we're at a break-even point, which is where I would prefer to be. I'm not here to rip off my family and friends. This is not about a profit center. This is about homesteading and having enough meat to get through a 12-month period until the next birds come in and get the meat the way we want, which is natural. So I hope that kind of makes sense. If not, well, to each their own on their opinion, right? That's the way it works. But also look at the numbers differently if you'd like. Now, we're selling the birds for $13 a bird. So if you choose to sell the birds, I'll just make this up, for $15 a bird, which is totally possible. Certainly you can grab the old calculator and take 69 birds and you sell them for $15 a bird. That's an additional $2 of profit, okay? That $2 of profit equates to $138. To add to the $2 I already made, that'd be $140 profit. So if I upped my bird price by $2 more per bird for the 69 that we sold, we'd have $140 worth of profit for what we did. And that's above and beyond the feed cost, above and beyond the electric cost for the heat lamps and pumping the water and stuff for these birds. And that could be thrown against the cost of the machines, the cost of the chicken coop, or whatever you want. So there is a way to make small chump change. And obviously on a large scale where you're talking 60,000 birds, 100,000 birds, or even 1,000,000 birds, you can see where there's a profit center. Not always for the farmer, because he can't just, let's just charge $2 more a chicken. He's stuck by the producer cost. He's being paid probably in the cents. The producer itself is probably making, in the dollar range per bird to process it out. And of course, the grocery store is making similar. And everybody's got their markup. And by the time it goes through the chain of the command, it's what it is. Again, folks, it's just a way of looking at it. I'm just trying to explain how the process works for those that want to get in it. Talk about investment of equipment. Obviously, if you're doing it on a free range scale and you're not doing 56 days, you'd have a chicken tractor, probably made by yourself for pennies on the dollar. But we've got a coop. It's a $2,500 building, paid for many years ago. And I think it was 2016. We've got a plucker. Our plucker is used, so it's a $300 plucker. We've got that camping stove. It's $180 in the time we bought it. A couple killing cones and some, vacuum sealers in the bag stuff. You're looking at another, $300 to $400 easily there. So if we want to start putting stuff together, we could say the processing equipment, we could easily say is close to $1,000, and we could say with the building at $2,500, we probably have a net investment of somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 to do this kind of thing for our family. To me, That's a cost I'm not going to take in and pass along to everybody else. I'm going to try to get to a 0 point every year. And that's just the way I'm going to do it. That doesn't mean that you guys have to do it that way, but that is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat that cost for my family. I'm going to call that investment. I'm going to take the tax write-off on it as the investment for farm equipment, and we're going to go that route. I sure hope this video helps you when looking into doing meat birds. I sure hope it gives you what you need to analyze and decide if there's going to be a profitability or if there's going to be a zero mark or if it's just going to be for you for birds. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like and subscribe and follow our channel. We'll keep putting out great videos like this.